Hi, my name is Tom Nethersalt, and these are 9 questions from a fan. So pretty much Evie, who is someone who likes my music, has sent in 9 questions for me to answer about me being a music artist, about me being a queer artist. So let's answer them today. I've already read some of these and I actually really think that they're good questions. I think that these are comparable to some of the questions that I've been asked in, magazines and stuff like that, or for interviews about my music by radio stations. So thank you so much, Evie. These are really good. Question number 1. As an openly queer artist, what are you as a musician trying to do for the queer people listening to your music, or just in the music industry / community? For me, I think it goes beyond making queer music, and it goes beyond being a queer person in the music industry. I know that I have a song called Twink, but I think feeling like you have to hide the way you are, act a certain way in order to be validated or be loved, I think that those integral years where you're filled with so much shame and feeling like you have to hide who you are before you even know who you are, I think that kind of shapes the way that you go about life. And I think even though my experiences and the experiences that I have that, funnel their way into my music, even though some of those are born out of queer experiences, I think the themes of being an outsider or the loneliness, they're universal human things. And I think that it just so happens that growing up queer, especially in regional Victoria where it's like so conservative, this blurry identity or this feeling of not knowing who I am, that's how it manifests itself in my life. Question number 2. Ignoring how anyone else produces music, do you believe there is one right way for yourself to write or make music? I don't think so. And I think that even if I was, disregarding how anyone else makes music, there's not even one right way for me to make music. Sometimes I might have a whole song written out, but I have no idea what the melodies are, no idea what the production is. So I think I go through phases of ways that I want to write music, but regardless of how anyone else writes music, I think it's kind of just a bit of trial and error. It's a bit of what's right for the song, and I think try and do what feels good, or I feel like, I'm feeling this emotion really heavily today. I feel like I need to write something down. Question number 3. When writing music, do you have to feel what you're writing like with Meant to Be Alone?
I don't think I'm meant to be alone.
When creating that song, were you in that mindset, or can you jump from songs such as Kamikaze Man?
He's my kamikaze man.
Baby, I'm sorry.
Don't take your chances, I'm not romantic.
I think a little bit of both. I think a lot of the times when I'm writing music, I might write notes down when I'm, in the middle of something, and then I can come back to that note later and, kind of put myself in a position that I was at. And I think sometimes it helps to have that mixture of total subjectivity and then coming back to it later, totally detached from it, or being able to look at it objectively and think, oh, this is what I was feeling. How can I articulate what I was feeling in that moment in the best way? I'm usually at the guitar or something and I'm going between all my sad songs that are unreleased or something like that. I'm rarely going from an upbeat song like Baby I'm Sorry or like Thrill of the Chase to something like Kamikaze Man or Meant to Be Alone. Question number 4. What are you hoping to send out to the NARM community and wider with the way your songs feel or sound? I want people to experience a versatility when they come across my artist profile and my catalogue. I want them to have this soft sounding kind of production and then also have this really intense production. So I think I really right now want to show the spectrum of music that I can create, almost as a way to show like this is what I'm capable of and beyond that. What to you is so important about being a queer artist in the music industry? I mean, like I said before, I think queer stories are really important for people to hear, but I think that they're not just important for queer people to hear, they're important for allies or people outside the community to hear, to gain an understanding of people within the community, to also just relate it to their own lives and see that there's not much of a difference between who people have a preference for romantically. Question number 6. What does it feel like seeing your music and performances bringing people together? As an example, me and Ava. We met at Always Live and now we talk, and at your second gig we only had each other, but that was enough, and held her in my arms as she sobbed like, what do you feel when you realize it was you and how you built your presence that made it happen? Wow. Honestly, I can't really process it. It's not so much that I don't believe it, but I have a hard time wrapping my head around the fact that people are supportive, and I think that is its own big thing to wrap my head around. I honestly don't know. I guess me being vulnerable in songs and me sharing my emotions that makes people feel like they can, let their guard down and be safe and, have that shared feeling with other people, and then it kind of speeds up that level of friendship and that getting to know each other section. It's kind of crazy. I'm just thinking about it more now. This is really good for me because I don't really take the time to process a lot of the things that have happened or the amazing people that support my music. I don't take the time to actually think about the fact that it's real, which is kind of crazy. I actually don't know how to explain it. Question number 7. Do you have another job outside of singing? If so, are you hoping that your music career can support you enough that it's your sole career? Being a singer is not my full-time job. I'm usually working doing video editing or videography, filming weddings or editing people's podcasts and Instagram reels and stuff like that. But I also put on workshops for young people about the music industry and branding themselves and marketing themselves on things like TikTok and Reels. But apart from that, I also work at a nightclub. So even outside of music, every other avenue of income that I have is something that I got into because it was something that I enjoyed, and now I'm making money from it. I'm incredibly lucky to have that be the case, and I sometimes need the other jobs to make me more productive in the music sense. If I could have an 8-hour day to do music and I could pump that out, and I really love those days when I can do that. But sometimes it's the days when I've been working on something else all day and I know that I can't work on the music until I finish this thing, that I'm incredibly productive for the 2 hours that I get that day. So I really value having something else to fill my mind and to make those moments when I do get to work on music really, really valuable. Question number 8. Did you enroll in any sort of schooling or education for this role as a musician, or was it something you put yourself into through a passion or interest? I have never gone to uni. I graduated high school in 2022 and then immediately moved to Melbourne. I think I'm very lucky that when I was in year 8, I started my own production company, filming weddings and stuff like that. And initially, before I was doing music, I was going to go to film school or that kind of education. But I came to the decision that I didn't want to go 40 grand into debt for something that I'd been making money off for the last, 5 years. The safe thing to do would have been to go into filmmaking or go into cinematography or something like that. But I'm glad that I had the courage to be like, no, this is actually what I want to do. And the last question number 9, were you a musician during COVID? If so, did it affect it at all? I guess so. Not really. I was obviously singing, I was in the school productions, but I wouldn't call that a musician. I didn't have any music out. I don't think I was getting enough gigs to call myself that. And even though I was getting some gigs, COVID obviously cancelled them. 2020 I was in year 10, so it didn't really affect me outside of the fact that I did online learning and stuff like that. And honestly, it was the time where I started experimenting with production and stuff like that. Even though the stuff that I was creating back then was absolute trash, like it was really, really bad. It was that time to experiment with things like Ableton, and before that time I'd been using, but I had so much more time to experiment with it now. Thank you so much to Evie for these questions, I really appreciate it. If you want to go check out my music, feel free to. My name is Tom the Soul. Twink is out on May 17, and I'm so excited to share it with you, so mwah. Love you all.
Hey guys.
How you doing?
Ready to do it with me right now, ready?